All right, let's talk about video games, but maybe not in the way you're used to. We're going to look at that really fine line between having fun and getting stuck in a cycle that just leaves you feeling drained, maybe even a little disconnected. This is all about understanding how we play and how we can turn it into something that empowers us instead of just being an escape. You know this scene, right? Let's just call this person Alex. Headsets on, the real world is totally muted, and in the game, Alex is a rock star, a master of this digital universe, in complete and total control. But that feeling, well, it comes with a hidden cost, and it brings us to a really important question. And it's a weird paradox, isn't it? I mean, you're winning, you're crushing it, getting all the rewards, but then you log off and poof, there's this wave of exhaustion, like an emotional vacuum. That's what we're going to unpack. And it's not really about the games themselves, but a specific pattern of how we use them. So let's give this pattern a name. We're calling it violent escapism. And look, this isn't about bashing any specific type of game. No way. It's about understanding a certain way we can engage with them that can feel, well, like getting lost in a labyrinth. I love this definition here, a digital anesthetic. Think about that. When life feels messy and out of your control, these games are like a quick shot of pure simulated power. But here's the catch. An anesthetic doesn't fix the problem, right? It just numbs you to it. And that numbness, that can become a real trap. And this breaks down exactly how that trap works. It's a loop. You start with some real-world chaos or stress, so you dive into the game to get that hit of control, that adrenaline spike. But, and this is the key part, when you come back to reality, the original problem is still waiting for you, and now you're even more drained, which of course just makes you want to escape all over again. It's a vicious cycle. Okay, so this isn't just about one person like Alex. This personal habit, it scales up big time. It's a global trend of using our screens to just check out. And when you look at the data, it's kind of staggering. I mean, just look at this. We're talking nearly 7 hours a day globally. In the US, it's even more. And yeah, it dips a tiny bit, but the main story here is how stable these numbers are. This isn't a fad. This is, well, it's our new normal. Yeah, 6 hours and 40 minutes. Just let that number land for a second. That's over a quarter of your day spent staring at a screen. It just goes to show how baked into our lives this stuff is, especially as our go-to way to cope. So what's driving all this? Psychologically, it's pretty simple. Escapism is a coping mechanism. When we feel powerless, when things feel painful, our brain just wants a distraction, an off-ramp. And now with a supercomputer in every pocket, those off-ramps are everywhere, all the time. And what keeps us stuck in that loop? The source material uses this great term, an attractor. It's this core fear, a fear of how complicated and messy the real world can be. So we retreat to the game's simple rules and clear victories, and the more we do it, the bigger that fear gets, pulling us back in again and again. But, you know, it's not all bad. And this is where things get really interesting. There's a trade-off happening here. We are actually sharpening some very specific mental skills, but it might be coming at a cost to others. And the science on this is pretty clear. A lot of research shows that this specific kind of intense, violent gaming can act as a causal risk factor for decreased empathy. On a brain level, it can actually dampen your empathetic response to someone else's pain and make it harder to read their emotions. Now, inside a competitive game, that might give you an edge. But out here, in the real world, that's a huge disadvantage. So this slide really lays it all out. It's a neurological trade-off. On one hand, you're gaining what's called cognitive efficacy. Your visuospatial skills get a serious boost. Think mental rotation, visual memory, skills that are super useful for an engineer or a surgeon. But the flip side is a potential loss in social efficacy. We're basically optimizing our brains for technical problem solving, and in doing that, we might be powering down the circuits for human connection. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. Now for the good part. What do we do about it? This is where we get into the idea of empowered play. And the goal here is not to just stop playing games. It's about completely changing how and why we play. Empowered play is the antidote to that digital anesthetic we talked about. It's all about being intentional. It's about choosing games not to numb out and escape, but to actually wake yourself up, to spark your imagination, to build real connections, and to learn stuff that actually helps you grow in your real life. And it's built on these 3 pillars. First up is intention. That's switching from using games to numb out to using them with actual awareness. Like, ask yourself, Am I playing this to avoid something, or am I playing to connect with my friends? Then there's awareness. This is about checking in with yourself while you play. How does your body feel? And finally, balance. Shifting from just consuming content to creating something and making sure gaming is just one piece of a bigger, more interesting life. And here are some great examples of what that actually looks like. Instead of just chasing the adrenaline rush, we can look for games built around cooperative problem solving, or games that make you think about complex systems. There are even games designed to build social and emotional skills, to help you practice taking someone else's perspective. These are games that build real-world skills, not just reflexes. All right, our last section. This is all about putting these ideas into practice. It's the shift from being a passive gamer to becoming a conscious player, someone who's really steering their own ship in the digital world. At the end of the day, this is really about a shift in identity. Are you an escapist gamer, someone looking for an anesthetic, or are you a conscious player, someone who's looking for more awareness? The games themselves are neutral, right? It's our intention that makes all the difference. So how do you actually do this? A few simple, practical things. When you feel that pull to just escape, take a breath. Interrupt the habit. Just that pause can be powerful. Then make a different choice, maybe a creative game or a cooperative one. And a huge one, bring your body back into it. Stretch, walk around. Practice what's called performance presence, being aware of yourself and your environment, even when you're deep in the game. And let's go back to Alex for a minute. In this new reality, Alex didn't have to quit gaming. Not at all. Instead, the whole relationship with games has changed. They're now a way to build friendships, to gain some emotional insight. The screen time might even be the same, but the quality of that time is totally different. It's now something that strengthens their connection to the real world, instead of taking away from it. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Play isn't the problem. Play is, well, it's essential. It's how we learn, how we create, how we connect. The problem is when we forget why we're playing in the first place. So as we wrap this up, the last question isn't for me, it's for you. It's an invitation to look at your own digital life, not with any judgment, but just with some curiosity. It's about taking the driver's seat and deciding for yourself what role these amazing, powerful tools are going to play in your life. So the question is, how will you choose to play?